I'm Eric Miscoll with EMSNOW on the show floor at IPC APEX 2025. I am with Jason of Aegis Software, if you can't tell. We're in their booth. Jason, good to see you today.
Great to be here. Thank you.
It's the last day of the show. How's it been so far?
It's been really good, actually. We're very happy about it. Yeah, especially yesterday was an awful lot of traffic.
AI is discussed everywhere here in the industry. Continually, it means different things for different people. There's certainly a lot of challenges associated with that, right? How do you guys approach that?
Well, I think the big challenge is the confusion that is resulting from a positive thing, which is how many opportunities for its application actually exist, and people just keeping up with the types of it. How can we apply it? So it's actually a positive thing, but there is a bit of confusion. And what we're excited about is, like, for example, with our work with Arch, the ARIA bridge. The ARIA bridge, when it was first developed, was intended to share our data in our vast data model with Arch, so they could apply reactions and insights to it and give it back to us to drive improvement. But now, with the advent of everything Arch is doing with AI, that data that's going across the bridge is now being applied in ways that only 18 months ago we weren't even envisioning. So that's really the amazing thing about the AI emergence, is the power really originates in having as much data to feed and train it as possible, which has sort of been Aegis's thing for 25 years. And now a technology came across where now we can get value out of that data that we never thought possible.
And there's some concern I hear expressed about, or the benefit that might be from having a kind of a proprietary neural network rather than leveraging other greater ones. How do you balance those kind of risk rewards in that?
Well, it's interesting, you know, when you start looking at the different technologies and types of AI, the generic models, the massive ones that the mega companies make, they are then trained in domain specific areas. So effectively, it's a really brilliant way it's all shaking out, is that the companies that can afford to build the primary enormous models, then they can be specialized in a space like ours and so forth. So it's actually the best of both worlds. It isn't that you have to just have a proprietary or not and so forth.
Yeah, because you might as well leverage what's out there. There's so much data being accumulated, right? And being able to do it. The other thing I want to ask you is about your factory logic material management 2.0, right? That's new. Tell us about that.
That is releasing in about 10 days now. There's a significant array of improvements with regard to how it interacts, because material interaction with ERP from the MES system is obviously very important. And we've made that much more adjustable and adaptable to the myriad ways that people handle material finance transactions in ERP. But what I find, and it's interesting, I say more compelling or is inventory audit. Now, let's face it, inventory materials auditing is not, to most people, an exciting subject, but financially incredibly important to companies. Shutting down a plant to do a full audit once or twice a year is, no one wants to do it, and it's expensive. So Factory Logics now has a web-based, of course, tunable system to distribute the material counting and auditing operations over the course of a year or over a quarter. And you do it in small increments instead of in a big bang. So you're never shutting the plant down, and you're not telling operators they have to come in on a weekend to count parts. So while inventory management's not terribly exciting on its face, it's a very great business value.
No, and it's been great, especially with when all these the component glut and the excess material that everybody was holding, right? I go into warehouses with EMS executives. They say, here's where all the money is, right?
It's universal. They know that's where the money is,
right? They know exactly. So the other thing I want to ask you about, in regards to, you mentioned analytics, the whole issue of how you can use analytics to demonstrate your value, to validate your value, showing the problems that you may have solved for customers.
Oh, that's a great question, because last year we had our European User Summit in Nuremberg, Germany. And a customer of ours, multi-site large EMS, came up to me and said, you know, we like the system, thankfully, he said that. And but what it can't tell us is, it tells us everything that happened and the trace and all sorts of analytics, but it doesn't actually have data generators that show us what didn't occur, meaning what disasters that would have impacted the business were stopped because we run this MES system. And it was sort of an epiphany, and we thought, well, that's embarrassing that we never thought of that. So we now have an array of analytics that literally tells our customers all the things that didn't occur that would have impacted them negatively. So for example, the system knows that how many units a year accidentally meandered their way into the shipping area with defects that should never have gotten to shipping, right? That can happen, where someone takes a unit, a known bad unit, it makes its way into packaging. We stop that. Now you have reports that say, wow, that happened 40 times last month. We have to go figure out why is Factory Logic stopping this all the time. Operators that approach the station they're not certified for. All manner of things that happen all day in our customers' environments that really, if you put a dollar figure against it, are significant. But once we're running in the environment, no one knows it's, they don't know that that didn't occur. So it was really, I owe that customer a debt because we thought it was a brilliant idea. Now, in 10 days, all our customers worldwide will get those reports.
That's interesting. Yeah, and that's and it's easy enough to tease out of the data. It's there.
It's most of it was actually already in the database. We never thought of making it valuable that way.
Valuable. That's excellent. The other issue, and you know, we're in North America, defense, mil defense is a big issue. It's a good industry. You see things trying to secure the supply chain around those too and those initiatives. But defense manufacturing compliance is an issue that you're helping with too.
Yes, a significant market share of ours is in defense customers, and not just electronics, but in upper level builds and full weapon systems and all of that. So we have always taken ITAR compliance very seriously. And in fact, third parties have said that we're best in class at handling ITAR data through an MES system and operationally in our operations, because sometimes if customers share data with us, we have to, as a company, we have to be ITAR compliant, and we are. But now we've taken our compliance to CMMC level. So the cybersecurity maturity model, and now, so that's important to our customers as well. And come next year, those that are not will not be able to take certain contracts.
Yeah, it's interesting because we talked a little bit about this before, but the military teases it up again. Depending on what your business is, right? EMS are so variable. The business they have, different industries, the level, the type of manufacturing.
Customers,
and their application of an MES within that environment is going to be very variable too, which like somebody who's not military, they may have that capability in it in 10 days, but they may not use it, right? So speak to that and how that, what's the term, how flexible the MES has to be to adapt to these multiple.
There are different approaches to that issue. The fact that everybody has different needs and especially regulatory requirements. The one approach is MES that was designed for a very narrow market or vertical, right? And then some customers go that route. Our approach was very different. We made the system so configurable that it can work in a commercial, non-regulatory environment. It can work in an environment like an EMS that is building ITAR products or not, or both, which is common. One plant can do ITAR, 3 others can't do ITAR. We can adapt the system with no code and no changes. It's highly adaptable to that. But I think more importantly than the technology of the MES system itself, it's the fulfillment, the deployment process, which we do direct in most cases in our system. We have we think it's a very evolved method of making sure that deployment and the practices in the plan descend from the business goal that the customer collaborates with us and shares with us. Why did they buy it in the first place? Before we do anything about how we're going to configure it or the usage cases and the deployment plan, because that kind of the lighthouse has to be why that company thought it was going to be business valuable to them. And then all the things we do in deployment, which include that configuration, descend from that. And we found that to be a very good way of keeping the deployment from splintering. And ultimately, the worst thing that could happen, it's a company invested in Factory Logics, and then we get through the deployment and an executive says, this isn't doing what we wanted. It's doing a lot, but it's not what we want, and we can't have that.
No, that makes sense. The upfront consulting and the consultation with them, really understanding that. Then I'm assuming their business may change too. So what they're using, how they're adapting, and what changes they may need. You guys are a logical partner then in the process.
We can be, but honestly, with the configurability and zero code aspects of our system, our hope is the customer becomes their own expert. And as their world evolves, they reconfigure the system through the user interface. And hopefully we don't have to be involved other than maybe a phone call to give them opinions.
Okay.
But what we don't want is our customers to have to keep coming back to us every time an environment variable changes and they need our help. That's not the way we built the system.
I mean, that'll slow down the EMS too, because they're moving like that.
Right? They live in a constant flux.
Exactly right. Okay. Good. Well, I appreciate the time getting the update, Jason. This has been excellent.
Thank you, Eric.
I wish you continued success and keep us posted on the new developments.
I absolutely will. Thank you.
Very good.